Hey everyone, it's Deanna from Deanna Scraps. I am here with one of this week's Free Flow Wednesday videos for the Crafty Maven Getaway channel. The image that I'm showing right now is the inspiration piece for this week of November. I was mostly inspired by the color scheme and also the little section that says Give Thanks. I decided that I wanted to work on a page that had some random sayings for things that I'm thankful for. Not really sayings, but just, items that I'm feeling really thankful for right now. I do have this one sheet of Pebbles paper that is a double-sided sheet. It's a orange polka dot, and the rest of the papers that you see there came from a paper pad that I got many years ago from Joann's, one of the DCWV, die cuts with a view. Yeah, one of those paper pads, and it's filled with beautiful fall color. It's called Indian Summer, I think it is. I showed it in the beginning of the video, and I love the color scheme for this week, and so I really wanted to play off that. Now in the end, even though I love that purple, I don't end up using it, but I really liked it. It just didn't work out. So the way I did this photo was I knew I wanted to have just a random sizing of photos or images, and I wanted to not have it much bigger than a 4x6. So I used photo utility or photo sheet, and I just picked a bunch of pictures that worked with the things I was saying that I was thankful for and put them on there on one of the grids, and this is how it came out. Now when I printed it, not all the pictures were the correct orientation, which I think ended up being a good thing because I really like the way the photos end up laying on the page. So I've been kind of playing around trying to figure out how I want to place these pictures on the paper, and I was even trying to figure out what color I thought worked best, and this is where I sort of decide that the purple is not going to work. I think it looked good, but I like the blue better. And I wanted to make sure that I was able to use that blue. It's not the exact tone that was in the inspiration, but it's pretty close. And I love blue and orange together. So here's where I'm going to start to play around with some other pieces of paper and trying to see what looks good, what might work. And this is where I start to get where I'm like, okay, I have a hard time with 3 different colors together, especially when they're bigger chunks of pieces of paper. I don't mind layers, like layers under a photo and being able to use different colors and different designs. But for some reason, when I try to layer larger sheets together, 2 is real easy, and having like a blank slate is real easy too, like a white or a black sheet of paper, and then putting 2 different colors on there. But I don't know, I struggle otherwise. But here I'm using some glimmer mist. I wanted to have some different colors, and I have a huge supply of glimmer mist that I bought many years ago, and it's nice to be able to use something that's in your stash. And I was kind of disappointed because even in person you can't really tell what those colors are. I tried to get the camera up closer so you could really see, but even in person it was really difficult to see. Once it dries, it's a little bit better. But I was using like an orange, I can't remember what it's called. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's an orange, like burnt orange I think it is, and then a sunflower yellow. And they worked out really good with the color scheme. And they're just a slight bit different. You can see it a little bit better with the bigger splotches. And I wasn't exactly sure how I was laying the photos on the page, so I just made it lots of splotches all the way down the middle. This is where I decide that I'm going to use that white paper as like the main sheet where the photo and photo mat go, and the orange is going to have 2 borders on either side. And I tried to make sure that, it was as even as possible. And then I'm going to make the photo and all the embellishments sort of go straight down the middle. Now I used my typewriter for the journaling, and there were several that didn't work out, and I haven't used my typewriter in a while, so some of it was kind of, you know, wasn't very dark, so I used a pen to kind of go over it, and you can tell that I used a pen, but I don't care. I'm still happy with it. And then I'm just trying to lay those down, you know, the best I can so that is centered. So it's going to go, you know, like I said, down the middle. And I have a lot of these embellishments from last year. It was a Scraptastic kit, and I looked it up, and of course I don't remember what it was. It was one of the fall kits. And I took a photo of how it was laid out because I was really liking the way it was, and I didn't want to lose any of that when I wanted to stick the items down. This ended up being a pretty simple layout, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I feel good about the number of embellishments that I used and all of the different colors. I'm happy that I got, you know, those things journaled. And I did pick a lot of random pictures. I tried to make sure they were all from this year. And my journaling is very just kind of words and sentences, nothing in order. It's not a paragraph. It says things like family, friends, job, commute to work, home, my online community, autumns in Minnesota, warm fuzzy socks, naps, the smell of cinnamon and pumpkin, my work family, my pen pal, starting on holiday cards early, UFC fights with family, and fall fun colors. So I'm just laying down some of those layers with the embellishments. I end up stapling that family on, and I struggle with it a little bit, but it does work out. I'm just trying to go through some of those embellishments, trying to see what else I can put on the page. This is kind of what was left over from the embellishments from that kit, which is a lot. And I don't know, I think I only ended up doing a couple pages from this kit. So I had a lot left over. I'm using that sticker off, I think is that a Bella Boulevard sheet, I'm not sure, but it says thankful. And then I'm using an older stamp set. I was really excited and scared, but I was going to do some stamping on this page. And it's an old Allie Edwards stamp set. I believe it was when I was in the Technique Tuesday Kit Club. And I'm going to use that for my title. The top one says, "So very thankful." And you'll see I'm testing it out here. I wanted to make sure that I got as crisp of an image as I possibly could. The word thankful is not like solid. It's got some kind of rivets and stuff in it. So, you know, I wanted to get it as solid as I could so it was, you know, legible. So I played around with it a little bit. I did the eraser trick on it. And I crossed my fingers right there. And I stood up to try to get it as even as possible so you see my head there. And it's good. So I was really happy with that. And then the bottom just says, "Gratitude is a memory of the heart." And I was really, really happy with the way the stamping turned out. It can be pretty nerve-wracking to put stamping on a page like that. And here I go with my splattering. And of course, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I'm kind of sloppy with my splattering. A lot of times I smear it, or I don't wait long enough for it to dry. So I'm trying to be careful here when I'm putting the dots on. Just have a few more dots that I'm going to add to the page. And I believe the rest of the video is probably going to be me trying to staple on that family. And I did decide to leave this in because I know people a lot of times have questions about how do you open the stapler. So I was just trying to show, you know, how to do it there. And I know it's kind of fast, but you could still see what I was doing. And then I always use my mouse pad underneath. At least when I'm at home, I use that and then kind of staple into it. I did struggle with these staples staying put when I was trying to push the back sides down. So I had to keep pushing them down, and it was because of the bulkiness of that paper clip. So I do end up having to fiddle around with it, but it works out in the end. I use this little tool to push those down too. I'm not sure what it's called, but one side is a poker. I think it's like a brad setter maybe, but it's really helpful for pushing down those prongs of the staple. So I'm kind of looking at the layout now and trying to decide if I'm done with it. I'm pretty much done. Just kind of playing around to see if there's any more embellishments that could go on. And here are the close-ups, and they go kind of fast, but there are some still shots at the end. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and check us out tomorrow for another Crafty Maven getaway video, and I will catch you next time.